All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina, covering the period from today, May 15th, until Wednesday, May 21st. And I am meteorologist Jimmy Danko here at the NWS Raleigh office. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's just look at some heat safety because we are expecting some pretty hot and humid conditions tomorrow and Saturday. So heat is the #1 related killer in the US, and it's really important, especially during these conditions, to stay hydrated, and especially if you're having to be outside for extended periods of time. And also really check in with younger children, older adults, people with chronic conditions, and pregnant women. And also it's really important to never leave a child, disabled person, or a pet locked in a car, and try to limit strenuous outdoor activities during the hottest parts of the day. Those are all key points to keep in mind over the next couple days. So taking a look at the upcoming weather pattern for Central North Carolina. So today we do have high pressure aloft that will be approaching our area. And so that is going to result in less precipitation coverage compared to recent days. You know, we've been so wet this week. And so the good news is at least we're going to be drier than we have been. However, there still is a threat for some isolated showers and storms as a warm front across their area pushes north somewhere over Virginia, and maybe we get some isolated storms trickling down from the Virginia mountains and into the northeast Piedmont and northern coastal plain. Then tomorrow, similarly, coverage should be pretty isolated, but there still is a threat for some isolated showers and storms, mainly across the north. And then everywhere there's potential for showers and storms on Saturday. There's still quite a bit of uncertainty on how much coverage there's really going to be. We are expecting a cold front to move through our area Saturday evening. But there's multiple factors at play here, which I'll get to in the next slide. Temperatures, though, we do have higher confidence that there will be hot temperatures beginning tomorrow and going into Saturday, with air temperatures in the upper 80s to low to mid 90s. And with pretty high dew points, we'll have heat indices in the mid to upper 90s, mainly from the triangle south and east. And even today will be warmer with highs in the 80s. So we'll turn above normal today, but really get hot tomorrow. Tomorrow looks like the hottest day. And then behind that cold front on Sunday, we start to cool down. We're not expecting like a really cool air mass, but at least we'll get some relief with lower dew points and temperatures dropping more into the 80s everywhere, and dew points maybe only maybe dropping into the 50s, which will feel nice Tuesday. Can't be entirely ruled out. Looks like my audio is cutting out.
Someone chat you?
Yeah, they're like all chatting me.
When we did the mic.
Yeah, I don't know. This has never happened to me.
It's all right. Get this going.
Oh, now they can hear me again.
Do you want to put this in?
Do you think this would even help?
I was using blue snowball and never had a problem with that.
I've never had a problem until now.
Use new hardware. Blue snowball. See if it's doing
They
sound check.
They were even saying it's going in and out before, like early on.
Maybe that's the sound check.
Hey, can you guys hear me now? Okay, so sounds like, at least for now, let me know, sorry about that. Let me know if that persists or comes back. So then back to what I was saying. So we'll have cooler and drier conditions Sunday through Tuesday, but still can't rule out isolated showers and storms, mainly in the southwest. And then the next frontal system starts to approach on Wednesday, and that will increase precipitation chances again. So looking at accumulated rainfall forecast the next 5 days. So today and tomorrow we have forecast rainfall amounts in the 1/10 to 1/4 inch range, maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch across the far north and east. But these are just average totals, so keep in mind that higher amounts are certainly possible in localized areas. And then Saturday, the Weather Prediction Center has hardly any rainfall forecast for our area, and there's still a lot of uncertainty with how much coverage we actually see with showers and storms. And I'll talk about that a little on the next slide when we get into the severe threat. And then Sunday and Monday looks like mainly dry also. So these are the outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center for severe storms over the next several days. Today, we are in a marginal level 1 of 5 risk from basically the northeast Piedmont, including the triangle into the central coastal plain, and then the northern coastal plain is in a slight risk for severe storms. So as I was saying, there could be some isolated cells that trickle down from Virginia, and later this afternoon and this evening looks like the main threat. So it's going to be a later time than yesterday, more like maybe 5 to 9 p.m., something like that. And with those storms, can't rule out some damaging winds and large hail. And I think especially large hail would be the biggest threat. But brief isolated tornadoes still cannot be entirely ruled out either. And then tomorrow, we're just in a risk for general thunder across the north. And that will depend on basically on Friday morning, there will be a cluster of showers and storms approaching and moving across our area. And that could result in some stronger wind gusts in the morning. So that we'll need to watch out for. And even if that does decay by the time it gets here, or goes further to the north, and there's some uncertainty on the track of the system, then we would have a threat for maybe for some storms later on in the day, like in the afternoon and evening, because then we would destabilize more. So there's still a lot of uncertainty, and it really depends on the track of that system tomorrow morning. And then on Saturday, it looks like another cluster of showers and storms, decaying system moves across our area Saturday morning. And again, depending on the timing of that, we could destabilize enough later on in the day for some showers and storms across our entire area. But it really depends on whether that can get out early enough and we're able to heat up and destabilize later on in the day. That's for Saturday, we're in a slight level 2 of 5 risk for severe storms. And then beyond that, the threat decreases from Sunday onward. All right, and then looking at the excessive rainfall outlook from the Weather Prediction Center, they do have our far northeast in a marginal risk for excessive rain later on today, but I think the threat will be very limited. We're not expecting coverage nearly as high as the last few days. And then we don't have anything, no threat from Friday onward. So looking at the experimental heat risk, this tells us how unusual the heat is and potential health impacts. So it takes those factors into account. There is a minor risk for today, and then mainly a moderate risk for tomorrow and Saturday. So a moderate risk is that threatens most individuals who are sensitive to heat. So definitely keep this in mind and keep in mind those safety tips that I mentioned earlier. All right, so the new drought update was just released this morning. And you can see that there's been quite a bit of improvement across the state with all the rain that we've gotten recently. So now really we just have some abnormally dry D0 conditions across like the western Piedmont and also parts of the coastal plain. But all of the moderate drought is now out of central North Carolina and really just confined to the far eastern part of the state. And this does not take into account the rain that occurred after Tuesday. This was updated on Tuesday, and there was quite a bit of rain across our area since then, which will improve conditions even further. So that is some good news, and this just shows how much rain has fallen over the last few days across our area. So you can see a good like 1 to 3, even isolated 3 to 5 inch amounts has fallen across our entire area. So looking at the Climate Prediction Center outlook for days 8 to 14, this is valid May 22nd to the 28th. You can see that there's a 40 to 50% chance for below normal temperatures across our area. And just for reference, normal temperatures that time of year are generally highs in the low to mid 80s. So that will provide hopefully some relief from the heat that we'll be experiencing in the next few days. And also we're expecting near to maybe slightly increased chances for above normal precipitation during that period. The experimental graphical hazardous weather outlook has, again, that limited severe storm potential both today and on Saturday, and the limited threat for an isolated brief tornado later on today, as well as wind and hail. There's a threat for lightning every day through the period because we really cannot rule out isolated storms any of the days. We're getting at that time of year where it's difficult to completely suppress any kind of convective development. So that threat is there every day, but the coverage should be pretty limited. So that's why the threat is only limited. And then again, the heat threat for tomorrow and Saturday that I mentioned as well, especially Friday. So looking at the weather summary and expected impacts, again, there's thunderstorms possible today through Saturday, and the best chance, I think, for strong to severe storms is Saturday afternoon and evening, but the threat is very conditional, and still uncertain, and there honestly there is a chance that we really don't get much precipitation at all on the next few days. There's also heat indices that will be the other threat for tomorrow and Saturday. Could reach the mid to upper 90s in the south and east, and I think Friday in particular looks to be the hottest day. And then cooler and drier conditions from Sunday onward. All right, that wraps up the weekly briefing. Does anyone have any questions?